Hi lovies and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Malinda's channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos and also educate you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this video. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I find it super interesting and I decided to bring it up here. Let this pan colored, lady shares a story that is so touching. Like she went ahead to talk about how, these rich white folks decide to use the poor, white folks to actually put black people down. Like she went ahead to spill something. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or so we're just here for educational purposes. Alright lovelies, let's dive into it.
So, let me start off by saying that I'm from southeastern Kentucky, the Appalachian Mountains. Basically poor country folks, simple people. And I was just sitting here thinking about how much that, like, Appalachia, eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, parts of Virginia, parts of Tennessee, all through that area, how much that we have in common with, like the poor black communities in the cities. Now, I grew up, my dad wasn't in the home, and when my mom, she was in and out of jail, but when she went in jail, she was there, but I was raised by my mama. She took in me, my brother, and my sister, and raised us like her own, and about everybody I know, all my friends were raised by their grandparents too. And, there's drugs everywhere. Everybody, all my friends was on food stamps, government assistance. I lived in a trailer park. And it was constant fighting, shooting, cops being called every other day. The police literally said that the trailer park that I grew up in was like the Detroit, Michigan of Kentucky. It was that bad. But, the communities like I grew up in, we have so much in common with these poor black communities. And I don't know if it's the media or the politicians, but they try to, cause division when we have more in common than we don't have in common. And if we could all just come together, we could make a change in this country. It's until what we could do. They say united we stand and divided we fall, and I believe that. I don't know, I just felt like I just needed to get that off my chest because I was thinking about it. Like, we really do have so much in common. It's almost scary, like them videos where they say put a finger down if, your mom was a drug addict or your dad wasn't around, or somebody who got, one of your friends got murdered, or there's drugs in your neighborhood. And there's literally, like, methamphetamine has took over the rural areas of the country, and we're like the forgotten child, like the the ugly stepkid of America that nobody wants to talk about. Well, I talk about it, and it's ravaging these communities. That makes me want to cry because I still got family members that it's affecting. And I know these black communities have the same stuff going on, and they're being ignored too. If we could come together, maybe we could do something to stop this, to put an end to these drugs and all this violence that's going on. But yeah, that's just all I wanted to say, and I just wanted to get it off my chest. If anybody sees this, which I don't have many followers, then thanks for listening. So I want to talk about something that nobody seems to want to talk about, and it's personal to me because I got family members that this affects, and that is particularly methamphetamine and heroin in rural Appalachia. I'm from southeastern Kentucky, and it's ravaging these communities. It's been ravaging these communities for years, and nobody wants to talk about it. People just go on like nothing's happening. There's nothing ever about it on the news, and these people are suffering. These children in these areas are suffering. There's no change. They don't want to offer these people help. Violence is on the rise. People are dying left and right. Every time, I check my phone, seems like somebody else I know is overdosed and died. And what's crazy is this is happening in southeastern Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. And it started back when Purdue Pharma started producing OxyContin. They literally came to rural America and started prescribing them OxyContin like candy. And then since then, it's just progressed. I just wish somebody or everybody would start talking about this and bring some attention to this so that we can get some of these problems solved and get some of these people some help. I'm tired of friends dying, people dying, and yeah, I know doing drugs is their own choice, but I'm telling you, I'm from there. That's all that there is. You either do drugs and sell drugs because there's literally no job opportunities at all. I graduated with 53 kids in my class. We had a Walmart and that's it. There was nothing to do. There was nothing for the young kids to do. And there was maybe like 2 factories, and there's only so many jobs in those factories, and the rest of the people either draws a check or they're selling dope to provide for their families. And I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and it's sad because that's all there is. I just want, I don't know, I want somebody to do something and come up with some solution, our leaders. And it's like they don't even acknowledge that this is going on to major parts of these areas in our countries. None of the politicians for any of these states even talks about this. But I want to talk about it. I want to help these people. I want jobs to be created, help to be offered to the ones that's struggling. I don't know, I've been off on a tangent. I ain't never posted no videos on here before. I posted one earlier, and this is the second video I ever posted, but this stuff's just been heavy on my mind because it's personal to me, like really personal. So yeah, maybe people can start talking about it, bring some attention to this, because people are dying, children are suffering.
The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other. Before we figured out there were other people to kill, we just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another, or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote-unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people, right? So ultimately, the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. No more of that, because you're too good for that. And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line. Give them a horse and a gun and a badge and make them feel big and powerful, right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well. Right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work, right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown.
Seriously, Liz, I think I actually understand where this Pankolot lady is actually going to. Like, she shares a story about her life and how, her upbringing and the way she grew up and her neighborhood and all of that. And she even talked about how, these rich white folks who happens to be in the better position, like maybe the political aspirants and all of that, and the upper class, they often use the poor, white folks against those black people in suburbs, like in that is living in a particular neighborhood. So they go ahead to actually, keep reminding them that, okay, if you guys are still, siding with us as because we are of the same race, we are white and all of that, even if we are rich, we are actually going to, favor you guys the most compared to these black people because you are our race. So they will go ahead to give them some kind of promises and all of that. And because of that, this sorry for using this, we tend to want to be very anxious towards, black people and all of that, because they thought that these rich folks have their back, have them in mind and all of that. And it's also give room to re-insist discrimination and all of that. Even if all of us are still suffering, that is what is happening in today's environment or today's society. Even if we are all suffering, that is why a lot of them now are coming out voicing, because they think the promises that they have made to these people, like the promises at which these white folks have made to them, has not been kept, is not being reached, is being breached and all of that. So they are getting agitated, they are getting angry that these people came to us, lied to us, they are going to protect our interests. We don't care what is happening to these black people, because we are of not the same, we are of different color with these people. So these people came to us, lied to us, tried to make us believe, in them. That's why most of them keep on voting, Republicans and all of that, trying to make it feel as if, they are the ones that is qualified to actually ascertain a certain position. But they are doing that because of their own selfish interest. And now this interest that they are actually selling their votes to or any other thing to is not something that they are expecting. And now a lot of them are getting angry, speaking out. Like, look at the video I stitched about the healthcare system. Look at the stage I talked about, the bill that was passed, the military bill and all of that, the military draft and all of that. So right now, it's as if these guys are getting so frustrated, because I wouldn't say, you are being racist towards me as a black person, and you are not even in a class that you were supposed to be like, we are all in the same class, we are all struggling and all of that. But in that same struggle, you are trying to discriminate against me. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. So when this, other guy that I stitched his video was talking about how nothing like, white people ever existed. It was actually this, people, this high class upper people that use this, white thing and black thing to actually discriminate against, the poor white people and the black people, like trying to make them fight with each other in order for these low class people not to take control of all their wealth or land and everything. So I think everything is just, making a lot of sense. Even if at that, the level at which this racist thing is just alarming. And these people is still not, people to be trusted, because even if after the lamentation try to call everybody, okay, let's come together, let's try to see if things are going to work together, or let's fix things together. Okay, what if black people decided to okay, let's just all do all these things together and everything come to normalizing? The problem is, what if these people disappoint? This is one thing about black people. It's not the problem is not all about coming together. Coming together is is just the list of black people's problem. But the thing is that after all the coming together and try to see if we can work out things, what happens after the on the long run? What happens? Because black people are often the ones to be disappointed, the ones to, when everyone have already gotten everything they want, they just shush and continue doing, doing whatsoever they want to do, and don't even care about the black people that brought out their time and try to fight. Just look at what is happening in our today's. So many things that black people has been complaining about, calling on everyone, try to like make people realize what is happening. A lot of people, went deaf ears, but now it's affecting everybody. This is why everyone is not coming out. Everyone want to speak. Everyone, oh my God, what is happening in the society? But when black people was talking about it, because it was actually affecting only black people, nobody give a fuck about it. Nobody want to, talk about it. But now it's affecting everyone. Then everybody is talking, because it's no more affecting only black people. Just that black people are now used to it. That's why we don't even complain anymore. There's a way at which something will go wrong. You just become used to it. Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please subscribe to this channel, turn on notification, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next
And if you
video.
have watched up to this extent, thank you so much for all the love and support. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.